Welcome to The Grant, the EU funding podcast. The Grant. My name is Niels Tuller Winter, and I'm the creator, editor, and host of The Grant. The Grant is an independent podcast initiative with the ambition to dig into all corners of the EU R&D funding system on topics of interest for the full EU R&D funding community. It is time to continue the group therapy that I started with the episode on searching proposal numbers in Erasmus+. In this therapy session, I zoom in on an apparently changing discourse in the audit regime. Having an audit is terrible. Truly, I have never tried it myself, but anyone I've talked to that has tried it has underlined that they would rather have a tooth pulled out. Audits need to be there, of course they have. Any funding administrator needs to keep a check on the funding spent. So, the community endures it. However, recently the community expresses a changing discourse from the auditors, moving from good faith and understanding the nature of publicly funded projects to a position where it seems more important to find accounting mistakes at any cost. We need to talk about this. Henriette Hansen, Daiana and Alessandro Melillo stayed in the studio when we recorded the last episode, so we could also cover this topic. All three are Erasmus Plus dieharders from the true Erasmus Plus community, so they all have something to say about this. So we have an exchange and have some interpersonal therapy from people that understands. All have a decade-long connection to Erasmus Plus, lifelong learning, and related initiatives. They have seen a lot. Together we try to get our heads around this, and I let the group express their frustration to the common good. Great content. Please enjoy. The Grant. Welcome to The Grant, the EU funding podcast. Today, we're going to talk about a very specific issue, but it's an issue that is on the top of mind of many stakeholders involved in the Erasmus Plus program. And I have my Erasmus Plus therapy panel with me. Talk about audits, and we just recorded the episode for concerning the searching proposals. So we are here sitting in a recording flow. Short introduction, Henriette.
Yes, hello, my name is Henriette Hansen. I'm working in the South Denmark European office, and I have worked with project development and project management for the last 27 years. And a lot of these projects has been Erasmus Plus projects.
You're a real old timer. Really been going on for a long time, yeah. Almost 30 years soon. No. Daiana?
Hello, Daiana Huber from CPIP Romania, working in EU grants and co-funded projects of the European Commission since 2006. I do writing, but I also am part of the implementation team, especially on the projects that I write and manage to grant, and had my fair share of interim and final reporting of all that comes with it, and including audits and external missions that come to audit post-mortem our projects.
Thanks. And Alessandro?
Hello, Alessandro Melillo, Director of Prism, an Italian social enterprise. Nearly 20 years of experience in European project writing and project management. I'm also a trainer in European project funds and European project writing. And I'm also ambassador of the Erasmus Plus for the Italian National Agency in the field of adult education.
Thanks. Now I'm going to do the fly-in because we're three people. It's going to be a very long fly-in if I'm going to ask all three of you. Now, we're going to talk about audits, and the reason why we're going to talk about Erasmus Plus audits, because when we had the pre-talk for the conversation that we've done on the searching Erasmus Plus proposals, you started talking about this also with the audits, what's going on with that. And then I suggested that we made a separate conversation, because it's different problematic, it's different issue than searching proposals. So it's not gonna be an hour-long conversation. I hope we can keep within between 30 and 40 minutes conversation about what's going on here. So, first block here, the old logic versus the new logic. So who wants to pick this up?
Nobody. Nobody.
Okay, so here we have the issue here. Early audits, the issue that the issues that you raised, all three of you, was that there seemed to be a change in the discourse of the audit, where they seem to, with ill faith, so to say, they want to find problems, they want to find issues to knock down on, instead of, in good faith, focus on improvement. So who have experienced this? I know, Henriette, you mentioned this.
Yeah, I have. And I think it has also changed with this new lump sum approach to the projects.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, since, well, you know that I've been for a very long time in this game. And I was actually looking forward to this change, because I have had processes many times during several years, where I ask myself, have they looked at my project? Have they even had the time to have a look at what we have actually developed and delivered in the project? Because before, I had the impression that they were only looking into financial issues. I mean, if every little euro cent was used in a good way. So I had very good faith in this change till lump sum approach, because I understood from this approach that they were going to look at, if we had obtained the quality that we promised in our project proposal, and if we have had some difficulties, how had we then managed, to develop something else? But really trying to go and look, have we done our best to reach our goals and objectives with the project?
Uh-huh.
And I have just a few months ago received my first audit from a lump sum project, and I was really shocked, because, as you say, it was just looking for mistakes.
Uh-huh.
And in parts of the final report, we have tried to be honest, explaining some of the mistakes or some of the difficulties that we have had, but also trying to explain, well, then in the partnership we have done like this because we have, that we work together to make something different, or do things in a different way, so that we managed to develop what we promised to develop in the application.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had the feeling that we were banged in the head over and over again with this honesty that we showed, and with maybe the difficulties that we had in the project. Instead of them looking, okay, what have they developed? What are on the platform that they have developed, and how can it be used? So I was a bit surprised, and we had this opportunity to give some feedback and critics. So we made them like a 9 pages feedback on the evaluation that they had given us. So, and we haven't heard from them yet. So I think that they are considering seriously the feedback and the critics that we have given them.
Hopefully. Yeah. Any of Daiana, Alessandro, have you a similar experience?
Well, I have similar experience in having in front of me 7 pages written by my financial manager, close to her resignation from life, after we had forward-looking cooperation, which we have wrote managed. We were not the formal applicant. A public institution was the formal applicant. We were the ones doing the management, the reporting, the structuring, explaining to them, collecting documents, acting like everything and everybody in just 2 or 3 people that we were in the team. And 2 years after the grant was closed, so that would be last year in spring, we got the first notification of external audit mission. And it took more than 8 months to put things together. We had an audit team coming to the city, coming to the applicant, flipping gracefully folders, pointing out at things, pointing out at missing things, having opinions and attitudes, running a criminal investigation, actually. And I know when I'm talking about interrogatories and criminal investigations because I work in criminal correctional justice. So I think I know a public execution when I see one. And that was what was going on. And exactly like Henriette said, it is exclusively about the public money that our grantors have invested in us. Nobody cares about the deliverables because they do not want to be responsible for the content of our deliverables. The audit mission was financial management, stricto sensu financial management.
Let's move directly into the next block, because it's called Presumption of Guilt and Fear-Driven Compliance, because that's what we're talking about here, right? You have a shared experience and frustration that it's moving on from good faith to suspect by default. So disproportionate request, low tolerance interpretations of inconsistencies. So if this is going to be the new normal, you pointed this paradox out when we had the pre-talk, that you have an Erasmus Plus system and discourse that it claims to be trust-based and accessible, but then when you have the audit, you face a very strict and suspect by default approach. What is happening in your brain around this? What has this done, Henriette?
Well, one of the things that I was writing in these 9 pages that I have sent to the national agency is that, I mean, in innovation projects, you should be allowed to make mistakes and correct, and it's a learning process when you have innovation projects. And if you're not allowed in projects anymore to have these learning processes without it costing money, I mean, because that's what they do, and it's lump sum, you know. If they can see that something is not completely well in some of the work packages, well, they cut money. So I was just saying to them, if you continue with this approach, I think that there will be a lot of stakeholders who are not interested in applying for Erasmus money anymore, because, I mean, if it costs money, if we make mistakes, then we are not interested in innovation projects anymore.
Alessandro, do you have an experience here? Have you seen some of the same things?
Of course, everybody has experience in this.
And what has this done to your perception of this? Have you also written a report like Daiana and Henriette?
Yes. First of all, I have a clear perception that auditors have a mandate just to, yes, as my colleague said, to find something to cut. And it's clearly the attitude they have during the audit. I mean, I have to say, in my experience, especially in the last projects, all of these lump sum projects, the audit goes like this. The beginning is like they are very strict. They want to find something really bad to cut, whatever. Little by little, they do not find anything, hopefully, to cut, and they start relaxing a bit. But the perception I have is that, as Daiana said probably before, nobody cares about the quality of the products, the quality of the project. They just care of bureaucracy, bureaucratic issues, papers. Nobody go through documents, the products, the outputs, and whatever. I'm always happy when I receive audits, or when I know that many colleagues are receiving audits. And right now, this is a period of audits. All of the colleagues I talk with are receiving an audit, me included. I'm happy because probably I still believe that this is the way to find the project that really didn't work good. And if they have this strategy to cut and to take out of the program the organizations that used, not in a proper way, the money, what's better than audits? But I still have the perception that this is not their main aim. The main aim is just go there and find something. The perception is go there, don't care about what they did in terms of results, outputs, quality, whatever, just check the papers. Audits like this are absolutely useless for them and for people working on the other side of the, let's say, of the road like us. They are useless for both of us. So I also see a kind of improvisation of the auditors, and it's hard to say, I'm saying something bad, but they don't know how to deal with the lump sum rules. I asked them clearly, okay, audit for me is a way to learn something from you. What if, give me some, elements that I can use for the next projects. Sometimes they say, honestly, we don't know. It's really heartbreaking also this, because lump sum, we lump sum from the beginning as we are working on actual cost projects, just to be on the safe side, because indications were not so clear. We had some, discussions with many partners, because clearly, and I agree with them, they said, okay, these are lump sum projects. We don't need to provide timesheets, whatever. But they are now asking timesheets and proof of payments in the lump sum projects in the last audits we had. It's crazy. We have it. We have these papers, but I agree with the organization that said we don't need to provide these documents because it's lump sum.
Now,
So,
I can
I leave the floor.
actually, I can here say, I told you, not you. I told you so. Not you guys, but actually, this podcast, very early, I had a conversation with Joran Barsev, which is the director of Inspire Science, which is a consultancy company that often works with universities and the ERC. And he knows a lot already back then, before they started, about the lump sum. And exactly in that conversation, we reached to this conclusion that what should you do with a lump sum project? What should you do with your account? What should you do with your accountancy? What should you do with your receipts? Keep them. Keep track of them. Make it the same as you always did, because there were no indications of how the audit would be. So they can't tell us. And even the commission back then, when he was asking the officers, what will you do? We don't know, actually don't know. So yes, and this is exactly what I was discussing with him. The consequences when you would have the first audits from the lump sum, they're probably going to look for your for your receipts and your timesheets. Daiana, do you have any thing here? What has this done?
Oh God, yes, I have many things. We have been working on a misinformation. It is not a lump sum for us in the implementation. I don't know who the hell started this field, but this is not correct. The only time when lump sum applies is when I, the coordinator, do a reporting towards my project officer.
Mhm.
That is the only time the lump sum applies. The reporting that my partners have to do to me as a coordinator, which are exceptionally well described in, let me tell you, Article 25 of the grant agreement regarding checks, reviews, audits, and investigations, extension of findings.
Mhm.
Whatever I write in the partnership agreement under the extension of the grant agreement, this is what my partners need to report, real costs. Because this is what is going to be audited, real costs. If you don't understand this, and if you still have questions about life and why life exists on Earth, this is not the project that you need to be on.
Mhm.
And have questions elsewhere, because whatever we implement in centralized goes by the real cost.
Mhm.
And there is a huge list of things that we have been asked. And my financial manager is stellar. She implements by the book the financial one. And we have been caught by surprise with a couple of documents that we were wondering, what the hell are those? We have never heard of them. Like declaration about declaration of something, totally out of the blue to cover something. And this is not a lump sum conversation. So we are delusional if we think in implementation, this is something to have a conversation about. This is what we provide in the first project meeting. The first time we open the mouth and ask them to sign the partnership agreements, you are not to ask about lump sums. Whoever opens up this conversation is kindly invited to exit this partnership, because we have the audit, full stop. There are a lot of things that need to be documented and folded in and printed on your walls or whatever, and put in frame and have them years after the project is done.
Mhm.
And this is not a business for the newcomers. In this context, if a coordinator is for the first time in projects, or if a partner is for the first time in projects and has no support from the rest of the partnership, it would end up bankrupt after the audit.
Mhm.
Because there is a level of thoroughness of getting from all the partnerships all the data, all the timesheet, and it's not only about the timesheet. We have, I told you, 7 pages of bullets of what we have been asked and in what context. So yeah, we can have this conversation also in general, what to prepare about. But this is pro level. This is like scary pro level in terms of you need an army of colleagues to scan and upload and sign according to original and stamp and put in a secure space and make sure that you're not by accident putting any GDPR data, but have attendance list and. It requires an army of admin to coordinate. And we discuss audit in the context of centralized projects, which means 15 partners plus. My Blueprint Alliance has 25. Imagine what it would mean when we will be audited to collect from our cloud system where we do the project management implementation, 25 times 3, because it's 3 people, more or less, times 4 years of implementation. How many months of timesheets alone? Making sure that the name of the person is identical with the employment contract. By the way, you're going to be asked employment contracts. That the work package declared was open in the calendar of implementation in the same time that you reported the timesheet.
Mm-hmm.
That the task was open and you have evidence that the task was worked on that specific time,
Mm-hmm.
that the person has been declared by their own director or manager to be working in that project, and you have their CV there.
Mm-hmm.
And if in case it differs from the application, you need to have an amendment or an addendum to change the team. And that you have paid your state taxes. In the same conversation, that what else do we have here? It is a long list with starting with employment contracts.
I think the key point you want to make is that the loosening up of the system that the lump sum approach has been implemented for, it's not really there, because you still have to do all these things that you did before.
Is there, but it is not for us, the beneficiaries or the partners. It is for the European Commission to receive the reporting and to confirm in grosso modo, in general terms, that we are okay.
Exactly.
If you want to make sense of the big, bright universe that is EU funding, listen to the podcast and start cracking.
So this moves us straight into what is this audit discourse really protecting? So who is it protecting? Why is it there? And I think my suspicions go straight to that there's something here that they have KPIs on finding mistakes. If you all have this experience, then I would say it sounds like that there's something there that they are being. They have internal KPIs on finding mistakes more than just closing projects. What are your thoughts over these things? The agencies that are doing these things, what you say you've been talking to them, and they sort of, do you see any these audit practices? Are they in play? Do you feel it feels like, because what you're talking about now, the way that you talk about it, it sounds like it's a discourse where it's more a matter of protecting the interest of the Commission than protecting the interest of the beneficiaries.
I don't know anything, because I've not been audited yet. I was audited in the old regime,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've not experienced so harsh things as you are describing, Daiana. But what you are talking about here is completely ridiculous. I mean, it's completely ridiculous use of public money. I mean, we could use that money much more creatively, implementing projects and so on. And I have very often thought about, instead of course, you can write a report, a final report, but then I think a very nice thing would actually be to invite the projects coming to the paying agency and give a short presentation of their project, with one or two partners, so that you cannot lie about if you have made the project all alone or whatever. I think it would be a much nicer way for the Commission to see what's actually going on the ground, and also for us a kind of satisfaction showing what we have been doing to the Commission. And it could be both on a national level or a central level. We could it could be an obligatory budget line. Three partners from the project has to go to Brussels by the end of the project to make a presentation in front of some of the policy officers or project officers or whatever. I think it would be much better use of public money. For the COVID projects, there are 13 projects a year. So it's not that, if 13 projects should go to the Commission and present their project, it would be 2 days work for some policy officers, and for us, instead of this ridiculous, I don't know how many days have you used in finding all these documents? At least 10 working days, I suppose. And it has not added value to anything.
No.
If we went to the commission and showed them in a presentation of an hour or two, it would add value to them and to us.
No, I was wondering how this, if the approach of the auditors would be the same with newcomers. Because as Daiana was saying, these are not projects for beginners, let's say, for newcomers. Because experienced organizations can read between the lines that lump sum is just on paper, or just for them, but you have to act as the projects are on real cost. How can newcomer organizations can understand this and managing the project in the proper way as they want? I got some phone calls from colleagues, of course I will never say whom, that they are receiving audits now.
Keep between the four of us.
I keep the secret. It's a professional secret. And now they are desperate because they are receiving audits on lump sum projects, and they've been asked for timesheets, proof of payments, and whatever, and they don't have any, and the project is already closed. So can you believe in 20 days of time to collect from organizations that already got the money or already got the final payment, to collect all of these documents? And they called me like desperate, and I don't know how to support them. I said, okay, I had at the beginning of this new approach many discussions with partners because we were applying the actual cost approach. And some of them, they were complaining, but we insisted. So we saved many organizations thanks to our experience. But now the program says, no, it's better to involve newcomers instead of you. How can they combine this? And is the auditor would have the same approach with newcomers? That's my question. I'm not sure. Probably it's part of the strategy.
I don't know. That's something we can't really get an answer to, right? Because that's. But what I hear from you, the three of you combined, is that Henriette's experience from the traditional budgeting approach, there has been a shift in the discourse, looking after faults rather than good faith, and in the lump sum, well, that's more serious with the lump sum approach. That sounds both like so the approach of by default you're looking at mistakes and not really calibrating for what has been hailed or has been the principles of lump sum, that suddenly they want things that was exactly not supposed to be accounting principles of lump sum, that you're not supposed to keep these things, but then suddenly they come and ask for it. So my best guess is, Daiana, you have in your report to the auditors exactly pointed out that was not part of the deal in lump sum, that they suddenly come with these things. Or
no, I don't have that argument because it is not in their mandate. They are a subcontracted corporation and they do not have the vision, the policy, the scope. I don't argue with people that are subcontracted to deliver an activity, full stop. I talk in their language and I present that we have implemented financially by the book. We wrote the book on how to report line by line. So it is not okay to have this attitude, but there you go, this is the documentation. And in case that you insist that this is not okay, then we can also have a legal conversation, because up to a point it's okay. After that, it's no longer okay to have this bantering. Now, there is a caveat in this, and I know someone would have a laugh listening to me saying caveat in this podcast, because apparently I've been using it too many times in our previous episodes. I don't know if the auditing mechanism is the same for the last 2 years of contracting, because we don't have any audit missions on the ongoing projects. We have audit missions on the previous contract, the previous financing program. So the Erasmus without the plus, or I don't remember exactly what was the name. I don't know in this programmatic period, because we are only now closing the first round, if we are going to be audited in the same style or not. That is the caveat.
I'm talking about this programming period.
You're talking about this.
Audits in this
that
program.
They are going.
Yes.
Okay, because
Yes.
I have
Yes.
the experience with forward-looking cooperation projects that closed 2 years ago, so they were contracted in the previous period. For this programmatic period, I didn't have any missions, so I don't have the real data to figure what it is. But in any case, we need to keep in mind that those are financial institutions that are subcontracted for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
They don't care about anything else than the accountancy mechanisms through which we have run the funding.
On that note, let's just move into the last block on what needs to change. And I would like us, because we need to finish within the next 10 minutes, so if we can sort of not make it too long, but so do you have a comment on that? Henriette, you mentioned, like maybe change into content again or something like this, but do you have suggestions?
Well, I think that if the evaluators can have a more appreciative approach to what they're looking at, the projects. I think that, I mean, now we have this community of practice within the COBE projects, and I feel that it's only committed people there. We are doing our best to implement these projects, to find sustainability for the projects, to collaborate, to exchange experiences, and really to show good things that we're doing in these COVID projects and in Europe in general. So I think it would be really nice if the commission or the evaluators or whoever, have a more appreciative approach to this. And then, as I said before, I would really like to go to the agency here in Brussels and show them what I've been doing, together with a few of my partners. That would really be a nice experience, and an appreciative experience, I think. Acknowledging what we have been doing.
Sorry. Daiana?
Henriette, I want to be part of your team and come with you and show them how wonderful COVEs are, because they are, and you did an excellent job when we met in Denmark with everybody there in the COVE reunion. Yes, I don't have a problem as long as you tell me what you want from me. You want me with polka dots, I can be with polka dots. You want me with a bow on my head, I can put a bow on my head. Just tell me what you want from me. Don't kill me in the process, because if you kill me, you will have nothing left, me being us, the team. If you want me to run this as a special operations I can run it as a special operation and backtrace with a geolocation code every breath that we had in the project. And that's okay if that is the rule. I have a fetish with the rules. Give me the rules because I cannot operate in any other way. So that is perfectly fine. You want payrolls? I can provide payrolls. I made, and my financial manager has made, prison administrations and ministries of justice go crazy and give us blocked with black stripes payrolls of secret data just to make sure that we have everything that is there, and maybe they would ask on an audit. It is possible. If we manage to run like this in criminal correctional justice sector, you can run it everywhere. It's not a problem. It's possible. Just let us know what you want from us, and we will do it like that. Stop marketing lies because it's in the detriment of our profession.
Alessandro.
Yeah, I want to close with a proposal because I think as a project writer, this is the time to submit a project. Putting together European Commission, EASEA, national agencies, final users, let's say like us, and final beneficiaries, because we need to learn how to cooperate together. So this is my proposal. Let's do a project. I will write it, and we will submit it because we really need it. We need to create, let's say, a common environment, and we have to think that we belong to the same family, we have the same objectives. So this is my proposal. I'm ready to write the project with the support of my colleagues. If you agree, I'm there, and we will submit it, and let's wait what will.
This is wonderful.
I'm not quite sure if they can participate in projects, but what we can do is that we can organize a policy dialogue in my office in Brussels.
There you go.
Here.
Can you feel the love, my dear listeners? Can you feel everybody's coming together? It's very nice. I will be very supportive in my corner. Yeah, this is what happens when you put people together. I love it. The Grand. Now we have to end this conversation. Thanks. Toughest challenge. Can you now, Henriette? You need to leave in 4 minutes. So, guys, can you just toughest challenge
in relation to audits? Well, it's for me, with the experience that I have now, is a bit to see next time that I'm going to write a final report. Do I want to be honest or not? And
exactly.
I prefer to be honest, but I don't know if I dare.
Yeah. Daiana, toughest challenge?
Yeah, I'm going to not say it as a challenge. I'm going to say it as an advice that has been given to me by one of my friends and colleagues, Theodor from EVBB. And he said, because I was heartbroken with the applications, he said, come on, girl. A bad year doesn't mean a bad writer.
Mm-hmm.
A bad audit doesn't mean a bad management.
Yeah.
So let's have this in mind also.
Yeah. Alessandro?
Theodore is very wise.
I want to close with I want to close with a thought that I have. I always perceived audits as a good thing. It's part of the game, and it's good to have audits. If you have nothing to hide, they are also good occasions to learn something. So I want to keep on thinking like this, and I still want to be open to audits as, a good occasion for improving and for learning. And I hope the auditors will have the same approach. We don't have to be afraid of audits. We need audits. It's part of the game.
On that note, Thanks for joining me. Thank you for your effort today. Dear listeners, I really hope that you enjoyed listening to this. I'm not going to make a long outro. I will do that in the speak I will do afterwards. So thanks for joining me today, the three of you. Let's say goodbye to the listeners. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
All right. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Grant. All the Grant episodes have their own site on the Grant website. You'll find the link in the episode site where you listen to your podcast. On the site for this episode, you'll find a link to the guest personal LinkedIn sites. You will also find links to their respective organizations and to my Erasmus Plus library, where you will find all my episodes within the Erasmus Plus corner. Next week, I have a presentation of a book that guides research managers through adding solid diversity elements in proposals and projects. You can indeed look forward to that.